I'm joined by Hannah Newth, Programme Coordinator for Ivory Coast for Save the Children. And Hannah's in a refugee camp in Marne, close to Duekoue, where there was a massacre last week. Hannah, just give us an idea of the kind of what people you're helping have been through.
They've been through a terrible time. There's been a lot of tension here for months, and in the last week there's been a real escalation of violence and killings. We're hearing stories of people who have, well, for example, our staff talked yesterday to some children who walked between 2 and 3 days from their villages to get to the safety of the camp in Duekoue. I talked to another boy who had arrived at the town of Duekoue with his grandmother, and people were gathered there, and the armed forces came and they told the women and children to go to the Catholic mission, and the men they took away. And the boy said he knew they were going to be killed. So this is a young boy. There are children who have witnessed that kind of thing. In Abidjan, we know that children have been hearing gunshots, heavy gunfire, for days now, but they've been hiding in their houses. So children have witnessed their houses being burnt. We know a lot of looting is happening. Our own staff, the staff I manage, half of them have heard that their houses have been completely looted and they've lost everything.
What are the conditions like in Duekoue?
The conditions are absolutely appalling. There's a real humanitarian crisis unfolding there. What has happened is that thousands of people have come into the town, to the site of a Catholic church to seek refuge. That a recent count is that there's 27,000 people on the site of the Catholic church there, and there's not enough food, there's not enough water, the sanitary conditions are appalling, and people don't have room to shelter. That some tents have been put up, but again, our staff spoke to people who have not been able to fit into these tents. So there's children sleeping outside at night with no blankets, no bed mats, and occasionally here there's very heavy storms. We're entering into the rainy season, very heavy storms, and they can't get into the tents at night to shelter. So the overcrowding and the insanitary conditions are a real concern to Save the Children and agencies like us.
And what is Save the Children doing to help?
We've already done a food distribution. We were one of the first agencies to get in with a food distribution at the weekend. Yesterday we delivered cooking pots. Today we're delivering kits to newborn babies. Obviously there's mothers who are giving birth in these conditions with nothing. So we're delivering kits to newborn babies today. We're looking at family tracing. Children have got separated from their parents in the flight. And we're carrying out family tracing and providing care for children who are unaccompanied by their parents. We're also looking into the health needs and setting up a health program and distributing hygiene kits. So we're doing what we can, but it's certain that we need to scale up. We need the resources to scale up because this is really a large-scale disaster unfolding.
You mentioned the violence in Abidjan. Do you think it's going to get worse before it gets better?
It's so difficult to tell. This is a very complex situation. We just don't know. Of course, reprisal killings are a strong possibility. It's hard to tell what's going to happen. What is very clear is that even if there's a ceasefire, even if there's a surrender, or if the fighting goes on, the scale of the humanitarian needs are enormous, and people are not going to be able to go home in the near future. It's believed that there's around 1 million people who have been displaced during this crisis throughout the country, either within Ivory Coast or who've crossed over the border into Liberia. Huge numbers of displacements. And these people, as I mentioned before, there's been serious looting, houses burnt. People have spent all their savings trying to get away. The cost of public transport went up enormously. People have no money and they've lost their possessions. They're not going to be going home quickly. So that the themes of refugee camps and mass displacement are here to stay for a while, sadly. So there's real need, and we must be scaling up to respond to this need.
Okay, Hannah, thanks for sparing the time. Good luck.
Thank you.